Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Samp&Chance. I'm your host, Bobby Sampson. Joined as always is my man in the Whitecaps jersey today, Mr. Chance Michaels, and here with us, ladies and gentlemen, from Peterborough, Ontario, now making Vegas home, the Crippler, Cody Crowley. Cody, thank you for coming on to the show. How are you, my man, a few weeks out?
I appreciate it, brother. Right now I'm hot. I just jumped into a sauna about 10 minutes ago. So I'm trying to just do two things at once here right now. But I'm feeling great. I'm ready for my fight. I've been ready for my fight.
Yeah.
I've been training since July
Yeah.
or August when I got the call to get ready for a fight. So I was only home. I went back home when my dad passed away, and I stayed there for about 3 weeks. And then I got a call to go get ready. So I had to go and handle business, and I jumped on a plane straight back to work. And unfortunately, just with circumstances, I haven't fought yet.
Yeah.
Things kept getting pushed back. But
Yeah.
hey, everything happens for a reason. Now I'm fighting, March 25th on my 30th birthday
Absolutely.
in Las Vegas at the MGM Garden. One of the places that I've been dreaming of fighting at ever since I first moved to Vegas, when I was living in Hooters Hotel across the street for a month or two. I remember waking up every day, looking across and saying I'll be fighting there one day. And now I got the opportunity and the platform to fight there on probably one of the biggest cards this year that PBC's throwing on. And, it might not get publicized as one of the biggest, but I think with the matchups, and of course with Caleb and Benavides, that's a fight that's been in the making for 5 or 6 years now. And it's a very big one for boxing. Boxing fans are finally getting what they deserve.
Yeah, finally. It's taken a couple of years, but we're starting to see these ripple effects of some of the fights that are coming out. Like, I mean, the first quarter of the calendar year has produced some amazing fights, hands down. Like we got fight of the year candidates, and things are just getting better and better. But Cody, I like to start at the beginning with you here. I understand that you started off loving hockey, being a good Canadian kid, Don Cherry there for you.
Yeah.
And I understand that you started combat sports as a way of training for hockey. What was the transition for you? How did that happen where you said, you know what, forget the skates, this is what I want to do?
Yeah. You know what, my dad, he quote unquote, to stay in shape for hockey, he signed me up for kickboxing.
Right.
But realistically, it was, at the time, I was a pretty soft kid. I was chunky, always last to the line. I had no self-confidence. As soon as I got the puck, I would shoot it right away. I didn't want to be seen at all.
Right.
So in his eyes, he wanted to, toughen up his kid, build some self-confidence, and shed off some of those man boobs that started to grow on me. So he threw me into kickboxing. And within the first 3 months, I took off right away with it, because I started to feel everything that I was putting into what I was doing. The weight started to come off, went from not being able to run to running a mile, to running 2 miles, to running 3 miles. So every ounce of energy that I put into it, I would see a return on my investment. And that's what really made me more and more hungry for it, because I would bring that same intensity and conditioning that I was creating with the boxing into my hockey. But other guys, they might not put as much into it. So I can go out there and bust my butt all day long and be the hardest worker on the team, but we might still go, 0-10 and not win a game.
Right.
So it just didn't feel like the sport for me, now that I've felt and witnessed what true hard work and dedication can get you.
Right.
And you're only as strong as your weakest link on a team.
Right.
So I figured, well, I'm going to be the strongest link and the weakest link on the Cody Crowley team.
Cody, what made you transition from kickboxing into boxing?
So it was when I started to see the hard work that I was putting into the boxing, and the benefits that I was getting out of it. If I showed up and I put the work in, I would instantly see results. You know, went from not being able to run to running a mile to 2 miles to 3 miles, to being overweight to every day waking up lighter because I was doing the exercise. I was following my eating regimen. And when I would try and bring that same work ethic and determination over into the hockey arena, it didn't quite feel the same because I wasn't getting those same results, because now it's not just based off me, but I had a whole entire team with me. And I could show up and give as much work as I want, as much hard work and determination, but that doesn't mean that every other person on the bench is giving it their 110%, right? Some guys might be slacking, and you're only as strong as your weakest link. So I really started to come to the understanding that I wanted to be the strongest link and the weakest link in Cody Crowley, and only Cody Crowley. So that's when I decided, you know what, I'm going to do this and fight and just give everything I have to boxing. And that's when I had my very first fight, and actually it was kickboxing at the time. And I still remember it like it was yesterday, because I was so cocky from the results I was getting with the hard work I was putting in that I thought I was just unstoppable, and it was very easy. And I was showing up to, you know, my elementary school, telling all the kids I had a big fight this weekend coming up and I'm this badass and everything, coming from a kid who didn't want any attention at first, right? When he started playing hockey. And at the time it was a kickboxing / karate tournament. And at that age, it's co-ed, 13 and 14 years old. So I showed up there all pumped up with my chest flared, peacocking. And as soon as that bell rang, I looked across and there was a little girl standing there next to me. And within 10 seconds, she picked up her leg so quick and just across my face and just kicked the crap out of me.
Oh, wow.
And
now you guys are wearing headgear, right?
Yeah, we were wearing headgear.
Okay.
But right there, I lost my very first fight. And then I had to go back to school and not only, you know, saying, oh yeah, and swallow it. Yeah, I lost my first fight. I got my butt kicked, but I got my butt kicked by a girl. And that was very, very humiliating for me.
Right.
I had a lot of shame. I felt worse than when I first started the kickboxing, when I would get the puck in hockey and shoot it right away. Because I didn't want to be seen. And that right there, that moment of having to own up to what happened, it installed this drive inside of me that I would never let myself feel like that again. I would never let myself feel that defeat. And I know I came up short this time, but if I continue to put in the hard work and work harder than I ever thought possible, that I would be successful. And right then at that age of 13, 14 years old, the monster that people see in the ring right now that can just go for 12 rounds against anybody, that's how that guy first got started, because he got the door shut in his face so much from humility and shame that I wasn't going to let that happen again.
Awesome. So Cody, you graduate from high school, 2-time Ontario champion in boxing. So, you know, things started to pick up there. You graduate and you decide to go to Vegas. And how was that? It lasted a little while, I guess. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I still remember all through high school, I was embodying the fact that I would be a professional fighter and a world champion one day. I walked it, I talked it, everything. And so I would be going to school, and you know, sometimes my mom would even sign me out of class so I could just go to the gym and train. I had teachers, you know, being like, you need to pick your grades up, get ready for college. What do you want to go at? What curriculums do you want to go into? We need to start prepping for that right now. And I was so determined. I just said, no, I'm not going to college. I'm going to be a professional fighter. And they laughed. Kind of just thought, okay, well, what a dream, because no one knows what professional fighting is in Peterborough, especially back, 10, 15 years ago.
Wow.
And as soon as I graduated, I booked a one-way ticket.
Right.
And I just got dropped off in the fight capital of the world. I knew that coming from Canada, the small little town that I was at, even though I was, a provincial champion, I won nationals, that level of boxing is very, very little compared to what the world has to offer. Yeah. So if I want any chance of being successful, I need to put myself in the best possible environment to be successful.
Right.
And that's what made that Las Vegas decision very, very easy. And I got off that plane, and once again, I got my butt kicked. I had no idea what I was in for.
Right.
And, professional fighters everywhere, MMA guys, boxers. And I remember working hard, kept telling everyone back home, I'm going to be this champion. And truth be told, I was getting my butt kicked every single day. Mm-hmm. I'd be on the phone with my mom saying, I want to give up and I want to come home, and I'd be crying. And about 6 months into it, she's finally had enough, and she goes, okay, you come home, I'll book you a ticket home. And so I came home, and it was that exact same feeling that I had as a little kid when I got my butt kicked by the girl.
Right.
I was reliving the same experience. Mm-hmm. And I knew that this can't be the end of the journey. And I just need to bite down a little bit harder. And I wasn't quite ready to go back yet. And then I started getting involved with, friends and drinking more, and sure. Got into, experimenting with drugs a little bit.
Right.
And I kind of became a washed up version of myself, but deep down I knew it's only a matter of time before I break out of whatever I'm in. I felt like I was in a little cocoon, just waiting to become a butterfly, and grow and expand and finally fly.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't until one day when I met a girl at a bar.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, I met a girl at a bar, and I picked her up, and we were hanging out for probably a month or two. And I got an eye opener. She's just like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing with your life? Are you going in any direction? Like, you just, you wake up on the couch and then you go downtown and party. And like, if we're going to do something needs to change.
Yeah.
And that was a big realization that I was just wasting time. And the only person who was going to pick me up out of my hole and save myself was myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I made the decision right there, where, I could give this one more try. And before I went there without a support system, so it was very, very hard. And this time, if I have a support system, I had someone there to help me emotionally. I think I could do it. I could bite down and do it. And so I got my first job. I saved up money for 6 months. She was working, she saved up money. And then both of us booked one-way tickets to Las Vegas. Awesome. With a 10-year game plan that no matter what happens, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to leave. It doesn't matter if I lost every single fight. I was going to give myself 10 years from 21 to 31 to become a world champion. And I just brought that same tenacity to win, that will to win, and that Canadian hardworking spirit of just never giving up. And a lot of the fighters down in the States, they're just so naturally gifted with God-given talent that they worked hard, but they weren't training in a garage for 3 hours a day while there's 4 feet of snow outside.
Mm-hmm.
And waking up every day and pushing yourself. They had teams and everything, right? So I feel like coming from Canada in that small town and limited resources, that it forged this internal strength inside of me that not a lot of these other guys had. And with that, I was able to continue to show up every single day, even though the first time I met my coach, he didn't want to train me because I was so horrible. I continued to show up and not take no for an answer. And eventually, all the guys that I was showing up to the gym, looking at, idolizing, wanting to be like, they slowly, months and months go by, they slowly fell off and disappeared because, you know, things would happen in life, or fights would fall through, or relationship issues, all things that they just couldn't handle internally.
Yeah.
Right. So eventually, I started learning how to box. I started having a higher boxing IQ, and I just kind of took off.
Yeah, your record 21-0. You have an amazing record. We're almost at the end of year 8, starting, ironically enough, year 9 will start on your birthday as you enter the ring. Would you consider this to be the biggest contest that you're going to be going into?
Yeah, biggest platform, biggest test. You know, I'm coming in this fight as not the underdog. I've had other fights where I come in as the underdog, but the stakes haven't been as high. This time I'm fighting for the mandatory position for the WBC, the highest ranked world title that there is. So there's a lot on the line. I win this, and I put myself in a position that a lot of fighters would kill to be in, and nobody can take that position away from me. No rankings, no politics, nothing. And we know that, you know, boxing has turned into more so of a business nowadays than anything else. So getting into those positions are hard to come by. And I feel like I've earned this position. I've fought a long and hard way. I took a journey that most fighters wouldn't take. You know, I left some of the biggest promotional companies to go and self-manage, self-promote on my own, just because I lacked some of the talent that was required to compete at a certain level. But I knew if I had more time, I would eventually be at that level and I could compete with them. And so, you know, I took a longer, harder road, but now I'm here and I almost have that position where no one can take a world title fight away from me.
That's awesome, brother. Your thoughts on Abel Ramos, your opponent for that night? Is there anything you can share with us that you know?
To be honest, I've never watched him fight. I don't know anything about him. Haven't watched 10 seconds of clip on him, but I know that he is a determined Mexican fighter, which means that he's coming forward. He's throwing big, heavy shots, and he can take a shot too. So, I fight off principles. And with the information that I'm presented with about who he is and how I fight, it kind of seems like a firework type of match, just a straight up barn burner.
It seems like you guys are going to meet in the middle and go right at it. That's what it seems like to me.
That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm ready for. You know, I'm boxing, you know, 15 rounds right now, ready for a war. And I always show up ready for a war. A lot of these guys say that they're ready for the same thing, but after rounds 4, 5, 6, 7 comes, their gas tank starts to go. And next thing you know, they find their backs on the ropes, and it's not that rock'em sock'em robot fight that we wanted. So I hope Abel Ramos is training hard. I hope he's ready, because I'm the type of fighter that I want all my fights to be meaningful. I want to, I want to go down as a legend. I want people to remember me like an Arturo Gatti, just a straight up warrior who put his heart on his sleeve. Because that's what I've done my whole entire career. I've literally gave my life to the sport of boxing, and I haven't been in the position yet, or had the opposition where it's got to manifest how much I've actually put into this sport. And I want it to be remembered, and I want it to live on once I'm out of the sport, to remember that I was a warrior, for people to understand what I had to go through internally to get in that ring. I want it to manifest externally.
Absolutely. So, Earl has spoken your name in the past here. Your thoughts on Earl now, as like as time has passed, and the fallout of the fight that he was supposed to have. What are your thoughts on him now?
I would love to fight Earl. I feel like that was a fight that has slowly kind of been building ever since I've been fighting on his undercards. And the fact that he called my name out of the blue, it wasn't a good call out. It was talking bad about me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, in order for you to say something though about someone and talk smack about them when they have yet to mention your name, when other people have really mentioned your name and you're kind of like a ghost in the room, means that they definitely know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And there's definitely bigger things that works and in the play. And I feel like that was kind of a planting of the seed for what he has in mind, for what promoters have in mind, to slowly build and manifest into a welterweight world title fight.
How is the training camp going, Cody, right now? How do you feel in training camp?
Training camp's going good. Like I said, I'm boxing 15 rounds right now. 3 different sparring partners. I'm feeling like a beast. Conditioning has never been a problem with me. My strength is only getting stronger. I haven't had a knockout in a while, and I'm really, really hoping that on March 25th to deliver a beautiful birthday present to myself. And that's get a knockout that I feel like I have 100% earned in this training camp, and I've worked hard for it.
I sure hope so. I'm rooting for you.
So Cody,
Thank
that's
you.
awesome. And I expect only the best to happen that night for you, and for Canadian boxing. I'm not to put that kind of pressure on you or anything, but just in general, I think you are that next name that's gonna come out of Canada and carry that flag, man. I really believe it. I'm waiting. I'm watching you. We're watching you, and it's very motivational to just hear your journey and to in a lot of ways, kind of our journeys is kind of similar, in terms of where we are. Like, we're a boxing podcast, but we're in Vancouver. Like,
Yeah.
we talk about it all the time. We would love to move to Vegas because God knows what we could accomplish if we were there.
Yeah.
But
that's what I feel like I represent, the ordinary man.
Absolutely.
Who just with hard work and determination can accomplish anything.
absolutely.
And that's one of my major things that I'm trying to get across to people is there's no difference in what I do compared to a businessman who makes it to Fortune 500 company, or one of the best NASCAR racers, or whatever it is. Boxing is just an expression, and it's really the internal ups and downs that you have to go through that make you great. And for somebody to go over their very first fight losing to a female and having no directory of being successful, and then becomes a world champion, shows that it has nothing to do with talent. It has everything to do with the being inside and not taking no for an answer. You can literally accomplish anything in this world that you want to, as long as you give up and you continue to strive to be successful.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you for that. And I hope everyone, can pick up on those words, man, because those are just beautiful words to live by, my friend. Cody, very quick question here, man. The Crippler, how did that happen? How did you become the Crippler?
Um, to be honest, I don't really know. Back in high school, that kind of came about. But it really goes now. Like when I get in that ring, that's exactly what I try and do. I try and cripple my opponents. I try and take their souls. I try and break them down internally. That's my goal. And so Cody the Crippler Crowley, it works. It sticks.
Sounds good.
Triple C boxing.
No, I love it. Love it.
Yeah, it sounds good.
So Cody,
So now I kind of look at the Crippler as my split personality. That is, that's my dark side. When I'm in the ring, that's who I am. I am the Crippler. But when I'm outside of the ring now, I am the warrior of light. I try and be an anchor for everyone else and a beacon of light to pick them up. In the ring, I'm trying to push them down. But the second I leave that ring, I'm trying to pick them up.
That's awesome, brother. So for fight week, what do you normally like? What's the weight cut like for you? Is it hard? Is it challenging? Or are you okay with it?
Always challenging. I'm a big welterweight, 147 pounds, walk around at 160, 165 pounds. So it's always challenging. And then you have the nerves, you have the adrenaline going off. You have different obligations that you have to do for fight week.
Right.
But that's just part of the job. You have to be able to understand that, know that, and get the job done no matter what. It's the first fight before the fight, and that's making weight. I've never, ever, ever not made weight. Making 147 is extremely hard for me, but yet I've came in 144. 145, 143. Those weren't supposed to happen, but I knew that there's no way I'm coming in even an ounce overweight because I'm a true professional and I've signed a contract with somebody. And if I break that contract, why wouldn't I break in a fight?
Yeah.
What's your diet like, Cody, to make weight? What kind of food are you eating? I'm interested in that.
Very, very, very clean. Typically, I don't like eating meat anymore. But when getting ready for a fight, I do feel like the meat gives me more density to my body. And it kind of grounds me a lot more and makes me more aggressive. But outside of fighting, I like to be plant-based. And even when I am fighting, I'm whole foods. Everything is about quality sourcing where the food comes from. Because, from firsthand experience, I've been that fighter who's been very, very sick. I've had a lot of health issues. And I've also been doing things 100% correctly from the health and wellness industry. But why did I get sick? Even though I was eating how I was told to eat, I was taking health and wellness supplements like I was supposed to, but yet I got sick. So that shows me right there that maybe those guidelines of what we've been taught or programmed isn't actually the best thing for our body. I've taken all kinds of supplements with artificial colors, sweeteners, dyes. I was eating chicken and rice 5 times a day. I look great. I look like an action figure, but I didn't realize the different seed oils the meat was getting cooked with, where the meat was coming from, what different additives and preservatives that were being put in the food that made me sick. Because my body, just like the flower outside, it's an organism. We've been manipulated so long in society to think and operate like a machine. when really we are no different than that flower outside. That
Mhm.
flower gets sun, water, and oxygen. If it starts deteriorating, well, it's missing one of those things, or it's been contaminated by an external force.
Mhm.
And anything living has the ability um, to filter itself out and heal itself, right? Because it has life force inside of it. So
Mhm.
same thing with our bodies. But when you contaminate it over a certain limit, eventually there's a spillover and a disease gets created. There's only so much Coca-Cola you can pour on that flower before it starts
Wither.
to wither and deteriorate.
Yeah.
Same thing with our body, and I was doing that, not really knowing, because that's just how we carry on as a society. But now when I look at things, 90% of the people I see on a daily basis in society are sick,
Yeah.
whether it be high blood pressure, liver disease, diabetes, skin issues, um, high blood pressure, neurological issues, anxiety,
Mhm.
depression,
Mhm.
OCD. There isn't very many great looking, thriving flowers walking around. So that just kind of changed my whole mentality on health and wellness.
Have you been sick since you changed your diet to a plant-based diet, or has that all gone away since you changed your diet?
It's mostly went away. I've had flare-ups come and go,
Okay.
due to slowly, um, slowly going back to ways. It's very hard to eat very, very clean
Oh yeah.
nowadays. Even going to restaurants, like you can go and get something clean from a restaurant, but you don't know the oils that they're using and stuff like that. So
Right.
if I do slack a little bit on what I put in my body, sometimes I will have flare-ups come back. But I've been very, very good, the last couple of years. It went from, while I was fighting and my own promoter, I had fatty liver disease, kidneys were shutting down, autoimmune conditions, lupus,
Wow.
IBS, poop and blood, all sorts of crazy stuff, to the point where some of my fights, I couldn't even stand up hours before my fight. I'd be crying because how am I going to go out there and box 36 minutes when I can't even stand? I don't even have energy to stand up right now. And I would just slam thousands of milligrams of caffeine and psych myself up and willfully go in there and fight my way through it.
Wow.
That's
That's
crazy, brother.
impressive.
So I'm curious about the plant-based diet myself now. My whole family's vegetarian. I was raised in a vegetarian home. When you talk about plant-based, are you talking about that meatless burgers and
Oh,
things like that?
no, no. That's see, now vegan has just turned it into almost like a trend. Just
Mhm.
because you're eating vegan and not eating meat doesn't mean that you're eating healthy.
See, I wanted to bring
You go
that up. Yeah.
you go and you grab a Beyond Meat burger patty.
Mhm.
Look at the back of the ingredients list.
Yeah.
There's probably 20 or 30 chemicals in there that you can't even pronounce.
No, true. No.
Um, so once again, that's just marketing and strategies for the same people who created the unhealthy food to get you sick, to get you on the pharmaceuticals, to get you to become um, a machine and do what they tell you. Now they realize, okay, some people are catching on, realizing that they don't have freedom if they don't have their health. So now they're looking for healthier options. Well, maybe if we go and just change up the packaging and how we market it, they will still be consuming the same things that were making them sick. So I don't like to, you know,
promote, be like, oh yeah, go vegan. No, I like to promote that you should be eating the highest quality of sourcing of food that you can get, but all whole foods. If it's not living, if it doesn't come from the ground, you're not meant to ingest it. Look at like I was saying, that flower. That flower will grow beautifully if it has water, oxygen, and sun.
Yeah.
Same thing with the human body. Same thing with your car. Your car will drive beautifully if you put gasoline in it, what it's designed to operate with. If I went and poured Coca-Cola in it, well, what's going to happen? Or Gatorade or something like that. Eventually, the parts inside the car are going to deteriorate, just like the organs do. And then sorry about that. And then what happens? The check engine light comes on, and it says there's something wrong with it. What is our check engine light? Our check engine light is disease. When there's disruption in the body, a disharmony, the check engine light comes on to say, whoa, 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 something's going on here. If you continue this way, it's not going to be good. The organism isn't going to be here much longer. So yeah, it's crazy. Think about it. You might own what, 10 cars in a whole lifetime, maybe 5, depending, right? And you would never ever put anything in it other than gasoline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know that, and that's how much you respect your car, a piece of metal.
Yeah.
Yet every single day, humans will put something inside of them knowing that it's not supposed to go in there. And you only get one of these bodies.
Yeah.
True.
So it seems like something is going on with how we're being told and shown about our bodies, about health, about wellness. So
I
that's enough.
completely agree. I know, kind of going off topic here, but I almost feel that, like, in the States anyways, and, I guess around the whole world, I think food is used by governments as a tool to hold people down in general. Like, if you think about it, like, where else can you go? Like, I'll use Seattle as an example because that's the closest spot to us. I mean, I go to McDonald's in Vancouver here, and a Big Mac is like this. But if I go to Seattle, which is like, an hour away, the Big Mac's this big, sort of a deal. Do you feel that governments and powers that be kind of use food as a fear tactic to kind of hold people down and to keep the populace from overthinking and whatnot, as you talk about?
I wouldn't even say a fear tactic. I would say as a restraint.
Restraint, sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Look at this way. How many times do you see a dad who runs a business who works 80 hours, 100 hours a week to provide for their kids? And he goes, I do this because I love my kids this much. I'm slaving away and doing this because I love you. But yet he can't stop this motion of what he puts in his body, knowing that he has diabetes, knowing that every single day I am shortening my lifespan with my child.
Right.
So, but I know you truly deep down love your child, but if you can't stop doing that thing that's caused that disease, then that means that you are 100%, you're an addict. And then take it one step further, I don't even think it's an addict, because it's messing with the neurological part of the brain, the chemicals that are being produced, the emotions that are being produced, to the whole point where it completely hijacks the person's nervous system, it hijacks their mind, and it hijacks their body. What happens if even caffeine? What happens if all of a sudden, we don't have caffeine for 2 days? All of a sudden, our head starts hurting. All of a sudden, someone might start sweating.
The withdrawals.
The withdrawals. So
Yeah.
what do you do to get it to go away? You go and grab some more. It's
Right.
the same thing with food. And it's pretty crazy because that controls your energy levels, it controls the way you think, it controls everything. And the way I look at it is, picture a fish tank,
Mhm.
right? When a fish tank is nice and clean, you can see right through. You can see through the front of the fish tank. You can see all the fish swimming. You can see the back of the fish tank. And then you could even see, if you put your hand behind the back of the fish tank, right? You can see right through. Now,
Correct.
why can you see right through? Because that filter system is cleaning the water, and it's always clean.
Right. Yeah.
But what happens if you poured more dirt in that tank than the filter system can clean out? Eventually, you won't see the back
Yeah.
of the fish tank. You won't see the fish in it, and then you can only see the front of the fish tank. That's the
Right.
exact same thing that happens to our bodies every single day, all day long. We're building up contamination and toxicity till it reaches a point where it's just murky, shitty water.
Yeah.
Now, how am I going to navigate life if I can't even see 2 inches in front of me?
Right. Right. No, fair play. Fair play.
I
brother.
also think it's easier and cheaper to eat bad food for people, right? It's cheap to get a $2 hamburger. That's a lot of the reason people eat. They can't afford to eat the good food sometimes too, I think.
Yes. And that is exactly why it's set up like that. There's a reason why something that is artificial, that has to be created, costs hardly anything. But something that grows for free from the earth every single day is priced outrageous to the point where most people can't afford it.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, it's free.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Totally
absolutely.
agree.
Something is fishy.
You must
Something
have,
is fishy. But then
you know,
something that takes hundreds of millions of dollars to create and generate, they give it away.
yeah. Yeah. You must have an amazing resolve considering you live in Vegas and some of the best eats are right in front of you all the time, man.
It's very yeah, you see it big time.
Yeah.
You see it big time.
So Cody, I have a feeling that this is kind of like a separate path that you're kind of on besides the boxing with the wellness and the health. Is this something that you're going to proceed with as you grow more and more? And you know, there's still tons of boxing to happen. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
you know, as that time gets closer and closer, is this the path you're looking to go on?
Yes, my boxing is just a vehicle for me to use in a platform. But my main mission right now is to make people feel whole, complete, and happy. Because I know exactly what it feels like to be sick to the point where you can't do what you want to do.
Right.
And when you want to take your own life. So because I know from my own experience,
Right.
I personally don't ever want to experience that again.
Yeah.
And I see hundreds of people on a daily basis that are experiencing that same thing.
Mhm.
So it seems like a no-brainer to me to go and help, to be of service.
Awesome.
What's the point of sitting on top of the mountain with all the money in the world, being the champion, if you're up there all by yourself?
Right on.
I don't want to be like that. I want everyone to be up there with me.
And this is why we're all Canadians here.
Yeah. And you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Right.
Right. And right now it is just, it's a very strange time that we live in the world.
Mm-hmm.
When they are forcing you to get injections and then at the same time bribing you with stuff that goes directly against your health. Come here, get an injection, you get a free box of donuts.
Yeah, that's
or you
crazy.
get a free Big Mac. If any of that was for your health, it just wouldn't add up or make sense.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that. Here, they didn't give us anything. They just gave us shots.
In the States, they were saying if you want to get vaccinated, we'll give you this, or
Wow.
Yeah, you had governors giving out literally free boxes of Krispy Kreme donuts,
Wow.
free vouchers for free Junior McChickens, free
Oh,
Big
wow.
Mac.
that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, just absolutely crazy. And if you can't see through that, the food is clearly doing its job.
No doubt,
Clearly, you
brother.
can't see through the fish tank anymore.
Wow. That's
So
insane.
cloudy and murky.
That's insane. Cody, back to boxing a little bit here, brother. Just a quick, who would, who inspired you as, as boxers growing up? Who did you get into? Who were your inspirations, or did you have any of those?
First one was Rocky, even though it's a movie. That was my number one motivation. I would wake up, and what happened with him, right? He wasn't blessed with the talent, but he had a heart, and he just wouldn't quit, and the will to win. And he showed that with that, you could become a world champion. So I was in the exact same position. So I really gravitated towards Rocky. And funny thing is, there's a picture of me blown up in one of the final Rocky movies of Creed, which was very cool. Manifested 10 years later, a picture of me in that movie.
Awesome.
And then the first boxer, the first fight I actually watched was Mayweather versus De La Hoya.
Oh, wow.
And after that fight, I would sit up all day long on my YouTube watching videos of Floyd and Roger hitting pads in the gym. And something right there just inspired me and said, I can do this. I can be right there with him. And
Who would have thought you'd end up sparring with him later on?
And then, once again, 10 years later, I'm standing in the ring with him. There's his dad in the corner. And that shows the power of the mind. If you have a vision in your head and you have a will so strong and a belief, eventually it can manifest itself right here in front of you. Just like every single invention that's ever been made. How many millions and millions of this the exact same process has happened, where a guy has a picture in his head of something, he tries and tries and tries, and then eventually it just magically appears here in the third dimension. But it was just a picture in his head. We have millions and millions of those examples. But right there, what does the food do? What does the chemicals do? What does, the fluoride in the water do? All that takes that strength away.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
So
agree with you completely.
Basically, that takes the people's power away from creating the reality that they want, the picture that they see in their head, how they want to live, who they want to be. That takes that power away from them.
Right.
So
absolutely.
So spending time with Floyd Mayweather, I mean, everyone's got an opinion, but what was he like?
To me, he was nothing but generous, humble, very appreciative of my work. Nothing but a great person.
Do you think he gets a bad rap?
Of course.
Yeah.
I think that if you had thousands of people every single day pulling on you for their own selfish reasons, I think that those odd times when you do shut people down, when you don't give them what they want, they are going to blow that up and use it against you.
Well, it's kind of like the
But
whole scenario, like you can save 3 children in a burning building, but the next day run over an old lady. No one's going to remember you saving the children.
no, but nobody, all I hear about is Floyd's a dick. Floyd's horrible.
Yeah.
But I never hear about the hundreds of people that he employs every day.
Mhm.
The guy spends $1 million on his training camp. Who's running all of that? Those are his friends. Those are his family members that he's gave jobs to,
Mhm.
Yeah.
that he's bought houses for, that he's bought cars for.
Mhm.
And I'll still never forget on fight week when he was fighting Conor McGregor. The Thursday of fight week, I got a call. Don't worry about coming in today, Cody. There's no sparring. We're all done. But my mom was in town and she really wanted to go to the gym. And I was like, Mom, let's just not go. I don't really like being in that scene around a bunch of people, just sitting there watching someone train. But she's like, Cody, can we please go? So we went. And there's about 200 reporters. It was Thursday night, right? 72 hours before. So it was like a media workout.
Mhm.
And about 200 reporters in the gym. And I'm just sitting off to the corner on a bench. And Floyd just catches me under the corner of his eye, stops hitting the bag, moves everyone, move, comes over to me. And he's like, Cody, what's up?
Awesome.
They didn't text you that you didn't have to come tonight? No sparring. I don't need you tonight, brother. Oh, your mom? Oh, hi. Hi, Julie. Now,
Right.
you just went and stopped your workout to come and make sure that I was okay. Do you
Awesome.
need anything? Why are you here? So how could I ever have anything bad to say about someone's actions like that?
No, absolutely. No, and you know what? And
Yeah.
that's beautiful. This is what we want. I mean, again, all you guys are in there training your asses off, working, right? And it's just, I always feel that anybody wants to hear about is the negative shit. And we just want to bring light to everybody, man. Like bring the goodness that everyone possesses, that we know they possess. I'm sure there's some real big dicks out there. I get it. But when I look at some of these big names, like all I hear is bad, 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 but there's gotta be good. And here's an opportunity today where we can shine light on one of the greatest ever.
Yeah.
And bring that out to the people here. So thank you for that, Cody. I really appreciate it. Chance loves to do this thing. He loves to shout out some names and get your opinions on them. Are you ready, Chance?
Yeah, I'm just gonna play a name association game. I'm gonna say some names of some boxers. Give me the first few thoughts that pops in your head, kind of to wrap it up.
I got about 3 minutes left, guys.
Okay,
Okay,
perfect.
We'll let you know.
okay. Manny Pacquiao,
Legend, hero. I would love to fight him.
I love to see that. Arturo Thunder Gotti,
Warrior, never quit, keep coming forward.
Roy Jones Jr.,
Flashy, quick, superstar.
nice. And we'll do one more. We already talked about him. Floyd Money Mayweather,
Genius.
I like that.
Perfect.
Like that.
Last question here. We talked about Manny Pacquiao. We didn't really get into much of this kind of stuff, but I'm kind of curious your thoughts. Conor Ben versus Manny Pacquiao. I don't know if it's official yet, but there is talk of this coming down.
Yeah, who knows? Who really knows? There's so much ideas that get thrown around in the sport of boxing.
Yeah.
Another idea is Earl Spence. I get number one position, and Earl Spence moves up to 154 pounds, and now all of a sudden his world title is vacant. So now I'm fighting for a vacant WBC world title. How about the idea that I fight Manny Pacquiao for the WBC world title?
I would love to see that.
That'd be awesome. Wow.
In Canada, in
Wow.
Toronto.
Wow. That's
If
awesome.
that happens, we will be there.
You know what? Manifest it, brother. I'm manifesting it already. I already written it down on my vision board. Awesome, brother, man.
Perfect.
I moved it so fast you didn't even see me right. Cody, thank you so much for taking this time out of your busy schedule. You're 3 weeks out of the fight week here. So thank you for everything. You got all our support in the world. We wish you the best. We wish you the best to health. And we wish the rest of your camp to be successful. And we can't wait to see you walk down that aisle, brother. Have you thought about the music or anything yet, or is it too early?
You know what? I had a nice thing planned out. Music has been a huge part in my own self-healing. And so I've always wanted to get into music, and I've went and actually started recording my own music.
Nice.
And I wanted to have my own walkout song and everything like that. And I was supposed to be the co-main event of this fight, and I had a whole walkout thing and everything planned, but things changed, and powers that be now have me as the opening fight. So I'm gonna save that personal walkout for my world title fight.
Awesome, brother, man.
Thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Cody. Thank you so much, brother, man, and thank you, and God bless. And we wish you the best in this upcoming fight. And hopefully, we can get you back on after the fight. To talk about other things and music. And I think there's just so much we can keep going on about
Yes,
here
sir.
outside of boxing.
And I plan on coming out to Vancouver sometime this summer.
Awesome.
So it would be nice. We'd like that.
We'll take care of you, whatever you need, brother.
Perfect. Thanks, Matt.
Awesome.
Yep,
Thank you. Take care.